Hello, everyone. We are excited to be with all of you. And what we promised to do another, 45 to 60 minutes is a discussion around a very interesting topic. And it's about the emerging distribution models that you see in insurance these days, one of the most happening sector. And what we have with us is a very, very interesting set of people who not only have the experience, they have also executed this game for a very, very long time. And they will actually come up with some of the very interesting points. They will be open, they'll be holding no bar to talk about the right things at the right time. They will also have some very candid views about what should be there from the perspective of the wish list. But before I get into that, let me start by saying that in our country, insurance was something like a necessary evil. And an insurance agent, irrespective of life or non-life, and in earlier days, there was nothing like a health insurance, was almost like a Gabbar Singh, that people would run away from such people. And there was no status, there was no glamour attached to that profession. And they used to be ridiculed. But over a period of time, I think what this country saw was a very interesting unfolding of events. And it started not just by the public sector units that we had, they did a splendid job in terms of laying the foundation. 2000 coming of all the new players in form of privatization of insurance saw a very good growth, great interesting model, bank assurance coming to India. The penetration went to a very different level. And what we saw after that are some very new interesting emerging channels. First 10 years of privatization, I believe a lot of money, lot of effort went on distribution. Next 5 years, lot of money went on research on products. Some very interesting products across the sector came. Last 5 years, we have been hearing a lot about customer experience story, the digital India and the digital insurance. How can we be away from that? To set the tone, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Amit Roy and I am a director for insurance with PwC. I look after insurance as a sector. I spent about 2.5 decades on the side of the insurance prior to joining the consulting practice. But I also wanted to introduce all the panelists one by one. I would start with, obviously, Rashmi. She is a very familiar name in the industry. Needs no introduction, but why don't you, for the sake of the viewers, also introduce yourself? Likewise, we'll have introduction for all the panels and we'll jump to the topic discussion. So over to you, Mrs. Ayya.
Thanks, Amit, for that wonderful kickstarting of this event. I'm equally excited to participate in this discussion and I'm looking really forward to this. A quick intro for me. I am Principal Officer and Director with Global Insurance Brokers since the last 9 years. My experience in the industry started with New India Assurance Company. That's where I learned about the basics of insurance. And then early on in 2000, I joined ICICI Limited as the founder employee to set up the general insurance joint venture for them, which today is the number 2 or 3 player in the entire market. I spent 8 to 8.5 years there, and after that I moved as managing director for HSBC Insurance Brokers India. So I feel very proud that I worked in the public sector, private as well as the multinational sector, from the underwriting vision and to the broking industry. And I think the opening of the sector is what prompted me to get into this broking line. And I'm very proud of the experience I gained all through. And I look forward to contributing today evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that introduction. Coming to Mr. Bohra now, again, a very, very big name for the industry, has contributed a lot in the growth of the industry and more importantly, organizing the distribution side of it. So Mr. Bohra, over to you.
Good afternoon and thank you, Mr. Roy, and thank you, Outlook, for inviting me. Myself, Sunil Bora, representing Globe Secure Insurance Brokers. I'm a chartered accountant by profession and has been into the broking industry for last 17 years. So I started my career with practice for a limited period of time and then jumped into broking. And from last 17 years has been representing customer and proudly, always feel very proud to represent customer and would like to take the cause of customer to newer heights. Thank you so much.
I think we are definitely, waiting to hear some very candid views from you. And thank you so much for joining the panel. We come over to someone now who is actually representing the sector from a very interesting perspective. And actually, they are holding the new ways of distribution in a very important way when the things are getting organized. But before I talk about it, Venkat, why don't you introduce yourself? Over to you.
Thank you, Outlook, and thank you, Mr. Amit. And my name is Venkat, and I based at Hyderabad, and I started my career in insurance in the year 2000. And this is my successfully completed 20 years in this industry. I started my career as an agent in LIC of India in year 2000. From there onwards, that I started my journey and slowly equipping the knowledge and learning more and more. Fortunately, last 7 years, I became India's largest insurance agent in a retail domain. And fortunately, that I've been part of one of the company called Anand Jeevan, which is the founding company for managing one of the in South India's largest broking company called Providence. And like that, there is another training and development and recruitment areas in insurance domain. So it is so, apart from that, I am being a advisory council member for IRDA's Life Council. And last 2 years almost that I am being a part of the advisory council member in IRDA Life Council. That's what who I am, and I am really looking forward to being part of this discussion to make.
Thank you so much. I think what is very interesting, like I said in the beginning, you fought when no one was ready to fight. And thank you so much for taking the message of insurance to the masses. And actually, you have seen the industry from a very, very close quarter at that point of a time. And I'll definitely pick up your brain for debating over the emerging models. To start the discussion, I will come back to Mrs. Iyer again. And a lot of emerging models are, we keep hearing about them. How much of that? And, I must say at this point of a time, thanks to the regulator for allowing some very interesting models. There has been experiments. There is a 1 rupee insurance coming to India. And I think the models are helping in a very big way. Insurance is getting sold as a wrapper. But are we really doing the thing which is missing at the level where the insurance is still not reaching? And what is ailing in the emerging model? Over to you, Rashmi. Wanted to know your views on the emerging models to start with.
I'm a firm believer that insurance is a very ecosystem-driven industry. The industry has always been very promptly reacting to whatever the ecosystem demanded in terms of development of new technology, new products, what is happening in the ecosystem, the insurance has always picked up. So just to give you a few examples, and of course it requires a proactive push. So in terms of the innovative things, I don't want to talk of the large risk, but coming to the basics sort of for the retail customers, I think one of the very significant turning points in India was when Modi ji linked the bank accounts and offered this Jan Dhan Yojana, and for 12 rupees, a person could get an insurance cover and a personal accident cover, and you could also get a death cover, for 2 lakhs, and which is not a mean amount. And linking this, first of all, bringing the entire, the population of this large country into the banking system, and then linking this by offering a very, very low cost product.
Right.
I think it was significantly a game changer and earned our respected Prime Minister Modi ji a name in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest insurance agent. That coming to 2020, when in February or in March, when there was a sudden, on 20th March, there was a sudden lockdown which was declared, and there were set of companies who were ready to, with their work from home or the BCP kind of a thing. But what's interesting is how the insurance sector reacted to this situation. I have not seen a single, insurance claim of any client of ours getting delayed. In fact, the claim settlement has been prompt.
Awesome.
Absolutely to the T. Absolutely no customer complaint. And it has been a wonderful experience. I would say that this is how the ecosystem pushes this industry and has created this industry which is so reactive and so customer centric. So there were all sorts of, and of course, I must not forget here to add the regulator's role in this, signatures and e-policy issuance for retail clients and including the free look period. So as an entire industry, I think we have shown to the common man that this is an industry which is with you in thick and thin, and we have gained a lot of customer trust and confidence in the bargain. And I'm very proud that I'm part of this industry which has come out. And then of course down the line we have seen very quickly the first product which was announced at the behest of the central government was this very innovative product for the frontline workers, that if God forbid anything happens to them, there was a 50 lakh insurance which was given to the next of the kin. I think that was a great confidence booster. Can you imagine in those early days when we were not even sure what's going to happen, and New India came out with this product, and thereafter again with the regulators push, there were a COVID-19 insurance, a standardized product, and we have seen so quick these developments have come in and given the customers that confidence that this is an industry I need to, and I can tell you that the number of retail sales which we are seeing has gone up dramatically.
What it did to the penetration and what role did distribution play on that? I would invite a few more comments. You also made another very interesting point on the sharp reaction, which has been positive reaction by the regulator and the industry in terms of coming up with COVID specific products. And I think that was that tipping point that industry reached. And Sumit, I will come to you. In terms of distribution and this pandemic, do you believe that, so Rashmi touched upon the point of the servicing part of it, where the claims were getting settled to the T. I am very, very keen to know what role did distribution play with emerging models? Okay, not just the conventional models. What role the distribution models play in pandemic situation? I would like to invite your comments on that because you would have seen that from the very close quarter. Over to you, Sumit.
So basically, insurance was always a forced sell product, right? So post-pandemic, I think there was a lot of pull. People realized that, there is a need of insurance. And there was inbound calls. So this is the first time where people used to call and ask about insurance, ask about specific products. And thanks to the regulator, thanks to the insurance company who adopted things very quickly. They came out with online products. They came out with, so insurance, you generally have to fill up a form. There is a proposal form which need to be filled. Then it goes to the insurance company, underwriting happens on that and all that. So everything became digital. And people used to underwrite the policy on a click of the button. Things used to move on the mails. And I think, I was talking to so many people where people had absolutely no work. People were, under deep stress because, what to do for 6 months, we all been locked up. And we had a situation where we used to start the work at 7 o'clock in the morning and we used to work till 12 o'clock in the night. So our hands were full. And we had a growth, we had a marvelous growth. We had a 22% growth in first 6 months compared to last year. So this is what has been, a situation in last 6 months. So yes, coming to distribution models, obviously the distribution model, we do not have an online model, but we had an offline with our team where they used to connect on phone, on calls, on Zoom, on various kinds of platform which were available, and they used to connect. And I think we targeted the corporate customers where maybe they didn't have a health insurance or they didn't have a term life policy. So probably the penetration or the depth increased over a period of time, and people realized that insurance is a necessity.
That's a great point that you made, and that's so much reassuring to know that. I think when people require information, all of you provided so much of information. I think for the first time, people wanted to know about insurance. They did not run away. They did not rely on whatever the agent was saying. It was good to see that people were curious about the features of the product. That brings me to Venkat. You actually represent the distribution fraternity at regulator's office, and that's a huge responsibility. I actually have a very, very curious thing that I keep hearing at different levels. Regulators came up with this concept of point of sales, and everybody thought it's a great distribution innovation in a country like India, where our populations are in deep rural and very less penetration has happened. Wanted to know, in pandemic, this point of sale or any other particular distribution model, do you think they played a role, or do you think that emerged as something? Digital definitely did. Like I think Rashmi and Mr. Bura, both of them have mentioned that digital definitely got adopted in a big way. Pull happened. But these new things of the point of sale, or let's say the para bank assurance kind of a thing, cooperative bank, or even in broking, did you see any remarkable change happening? What are your views, Venkat, on that?
Okay, let me start with thanking IRDA by taking a quick actions and giving the right advices at the right time, on time, to the industry, to the distribution channels, and all the insurance fraternity. For example, when pandemic started, it immediately studied the situation, and IRDA given all the insurers to design a product and use it and then file it. Usually an insurance product, any insurance company has to file before the regulator. Then
Right.
they have to get the permission and they have to start distributing the products. But because of the pandemic, there is no such a time. Immediately that IRDA advised to all insurers to design the product, then after that to get the permission. Such a way that a lot of COVID policies were sold out, some crores of policies sold out, and it is very good initiative by IRDA and immediately response from insurance companies. It is really helped distribution channels, agents and brokers also a hand-on product to take care about their client segment. That really helped. The second point which you ask is that the distribution network, yes, that is also I really thanking IRDA for providing that point of sales concept. The point of sales is really helped. If you can observe, there are around 400 plus insurance brokers in India.
Mm-hmm.
There are 1.8 million agents in India. There are approximately 55 insurance companies in India. All these companies, all these insurance brokers, surprisingly, some of the insurance brokers recruited more than 15,000-20,000 POS, point of sales. That means those many agents came into the ambit of the distribution channel. They don't need to work full time, but whatever the geographical area they live into, whatever the community they live into, just one person can survive. One person manage within 10-15 people or 10-15. That kind of ambit was for last 2 years. That really helping insurance industry for its penetration. Like that, digital, apart from the digital model and technology, that lot of Indian people, the community, unless they feel, they touch, they see, they don't believe. Now also the technology really helping to make it ease of the either a broker or a agent job. Last 1 year, if you see that particularly after COVID came, lot of medical tests are happening through telemedicals, through digital checkups, and all the certificates are issuing, and customers are uploading their KYC documents and their medical reports, everything online. Through mobile phone, they're uploading. This really helping a distribution channel for agents and the POS and the brokers Their job is making easy, and they can focus on more number of clients. And this is really helping. And what I'm saying is, it's not enough. There is a lot more things to come. But coming to international market, we are nothing lesser than reaching out, penetrating insurance business and reaching out the client, nothing lesser than. Only one area need to really develop is customer service.
I'll come to that.
Client,
I'll
yeah.
come to the international market and the customer service. But
Okay.
before we go there, I just want to build upon the point that you mentioned, a very interesting point that you touched upon. The
Thank you.
hiring of POS
Yeah.
by the brokers.
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting point. And I can't leave that because I wanted two other experts also to comment on that.
Okay.
Is
Thank you.
that the new emerging distribution model, that you see for India? And Rashmi, the question for you, do you see a shift in the age of the customer who are now entering the insurance, purchase? Do you also see any new set of distributor, coming and joining this industry? Is there any good news on that? Because I come from a background where I have seen insurance on the health or non-life side. Nobody would purchase unless and until it is mandatory. On the life side, an agent or a broker or somebody has to be influential to sell insurance. From there to this shift, what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. Just to add to what you're saying, life insurance has been sold totally on the back of tax. Yeah, so it is a very efficient tax rebating thing, and that is the entire success. Nobody went and bought proactively saying that, oh, there is a risk and I need to secure my future, etc. The driver was this. So in our country, honestly, there have been various other drivers. So like for buying life, the driver was tax. Unfortunately for non-life, there were two things which were not really in their thing, was tax benefit. And the second one was that all the contracts are annual in nature. So you can imagine the plight of an agent who is vis-a-vis an agent selling a life product. The non-life agent, his cycle of renewal is just 10 months and then he has to again go back. And comparing, that the logistics really were not really conducive. But thanks to, as I mentioned earlier, that being ecosystem driven, so one has seen a tectonic shift which is happening, and all these new models. So coming to what your specific thing, point of sale. Well, so bank assurance is one channel through which people have been reaching out, but this point of sale was another very innovative way where the retail customer was able to have a physical interaction. And these POS served a very important, last mile connectivity with the end customer. And I would say to that extent, any of these channels, I would say that in terms of the last mile connectivity, there is no better person than a postman in our Indian scenario. And I understand this India Post Payment Bank, when it was launched, I was at the inaugural function, which was inaugurated, I think, 3 years back by Modi ji in Delhi. And the vision which was dreamt was that Dakiya Dak Laya, and along with him he's carrying a little mobile instrument. So there is a little bit of a slowness which has come in, but India is full of these kind of innovations, because here is your post office, and from post office this Dakiya is going to your house to house. He has the trust. What do you need for insurance? Trust. Yeah. So a person who's giving you cash, because money order cash, you can obviously trust him to give your insurance premium, because he's going to give you a receipt immediately. So there are models and models, and India being such a vast and a diverse country, I think we will want all of these. And coming to the other segment, the younger generation, obviously for them again, because the lifestyle, the experiences which life is teaching them, the mental, physical, the emotional wellness, all these things are pushing even the younger generation towards insurance. And for them, insurance is only has to be click mode. They cannot be bothered. They have no time to meet broker or an agent, you know. So if we are catering to that end of the spectrum and this end at the POS level and here on the digital, I think we are very well poised to reach out to all these consumers in our vast and diverse country. That's what I feel.
That's very reassuring to hear. And that one more controversial point on that. So one school of thought says, and pardon my saying so, like I promised to the viewers, I'll be very candid. So on one side, we see that, postal life insurance, not being, if not failing, it was not that successful. Let me put it mildly. I will actually debate over the fact that in an age where every payment is becoming digital, people have forgotten how to write letters, those postcard inland letters that we do not exchange. All we exchange these days are WhatsApp messages. I'm sure you all got flooded during, Diwali with your messages, and we don't mind. That's convenience, right? I wanted to build on that point. Where should all of us in the industry and the regulator and the council bodies and forums like this should focus the energy on? Sumit, I wanted your reaction on this dilemma between reach physically and reach digitally. In a situation where world across, not more than 9% of sale happens digitally, in a country, we actually discussed that people who are active on WhatsApp and internet coverage wise today, 95% of Indian villages have the access. So where should the effort go? Sumit, over to you. Very keen to hear from that, your candid answers.
Yeah, so basically, the whole spectrum is divided into two as far as retail model is concerned. One was the online model, which was initially not successful. Yeah. Right, because people would not jump into the online mode and buy the product as insurance products were complicated and it was not easy to understand. So I think IIDA thought about this, and then came the POS model. So the POS model was a hybrid model where they would get a handheld device, or where they would be digitally supported in terms of quotation, in terms of pricing and all that, and they would complete the transaction. So, right. So the POS model made that gap, or bridged that gap. Secondly, even on the online model, maybe the online model was for people from 20 to 30 or 20 to 40. So what about people who are above 40? So right. Probably the last mile delivery, which we call from a POS model, which actually helped to bridge this gap. So I think the landscape has changed, and the distribution model changed. And POS has really helped changing the distribution model.
I have one follow-up question to that, Sumit, before I leave you. On the regulation side, I keep hearing a lot of stories about market conduct. Wanted to know your view. When we are having new models of, new emerging models of distribution, do you see any regulatory challenge on that? Do you see something getting diluted? On one side, Rashmi made a very important point that today's denizens, the Gen Z would not like hassles. They would like to have one-touch solution. And I completely agree with that. Customer empowerment is the key. But is there any challenge on, market conduct? Do you think grievances will go up, down? Or do you think people will be able to handle this properly in this empowerment? Is India ready for that empowerment? Sumit, your views.
So yes, as you know, the brokers were always regulated and highly regulated, and they always represent customer. We actually run a very high risk because we are liable for any mistake which is being committed, maybe on behalf of an insurance company towards the client. Whereas any other model, if you take the agent or the marketing firm or an insurance company, the insurance company runs the risk. So yes, when we come to these kind of models where a POS who is just a 12th pass, he may not be that equipped, or maybe the grievances may increase because he has not put across the product in a right manner. So it is our duty as a broker who is appointing the POS that a proper training system should be there, a proper modeling should be there, And if we are giving them a digital platform, we should make sure that it is an AI-based digital platform where the questions are being prompted depending upon the situation or depending upon the pin code mapping. So that will actually increase. So we have seen one case where, on the usage of that model, the questions are being popped up to the POS basis the pin code, so that he can ask the appropriate questions to the customer, take those answers and give that product to him. So probably, the world is moving towards that. We need a bit more innovation in digital selling.
That's a great point where digital is getting supported and physical is getting supported, and they are not competing, but they are they are in a way complementary to each other, and that's where possibly we should call them phygital selling, and India is absolutely okay with that. We know English, so we are absolutely okay with phygital, right? That way. Venkat,
I'll give an example
please.
On an AI. So when you suppose a person goes to sell a motor policy, now there are a lot of covers which are add-on to that motor policy, like a zero depreciation cover and an engine cover and XYZ. And suddenly that guy asks him, okay, why should I buy an engine cover? Generally, an engine cover is bought where you see a lot of floods happening, or there are situations where there is ingress of water in the car and all that. Now he decides whether I need to buy an engine cover or not. So the AI will help to understand through that pin code whether this area gets flood or torrential rains, which can lead to this situation. If the answer is yes, it will pop up that yes, in this pin code, you need to buy an engine cover.
Super, that's a great point.
So this is the kind of innovation, because, as you said, that, the grievances may increase when we give too many, distributors or too many people to distribute the product. But then we need to enable them in such a way that the grievances reduce, the mistakes reduce.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Venkat, I'll come to you with the ease of distribution and the product story. You have sold insurance sitting before the customer, and I want to borrow from your experience. So there is a one set of product which is almost like a very simple, easy to understand, easy to go product. The other product is very technical, and I think customers struggle to understand, and they are a mis-selling story. Do you think that we have enough product? And you were talking about international market, Venkat. I wanted to bring your point of international market. Is India matured, ready enough to have international level of product? And should there be any distinction on the distribution about who sells what? What should be the complexity of the product? And can technology, like Sumit also mentioned, support it? So what's the product story according to you, Venkat?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that India is nothing lesser than any country in the area of developing the product. Definitely, we are almost like at par with the advanced countries, except some small areas that we need to improve. Definitely, that also will come. Suppose, for example, that I am the member of one of the study council in USA, and for designing the new product and advising the insurance companies. So in US, 5 years back, when I am in the committee member, there are 2 million people who crossed 100 years of their age. And out of 2 million people, 70,000 people still driving their cars. But unfortunately, no insurance company is taking care about them. Because there is no pension coming them, because mostly the insurance company products are taking care of by human life value is a maximum 100 years. So fortunately that whatever our committee given the advices and whatever the write-ups we given, fortunately this 3 of US insurance companies came up with the innovative products. The New York Life Insurance in USA came up with the innovative product, giving the pension annuity to the employees, the members, the customers, up to 121 years. Yes, that kind of innovative product they came up. Like that, the innovation, the development, the growth is not ending up at one point. It's keep on evolving. It never stops. Basing on the needs of the human life, the needs of the industry, it's keep on evolving. But coming to India, compared to India market, what I strongly believe is the servicing and claim settlement easiness that really need to be compared to India, foreign markets. We need to improve a lot. Our systems and our processes, we really need to innovate a lot of in depth to evolve such a way that the customer will feel that it's so easy. Then automatically, the main subject of this meeting was the penetration of insurance industry. Once a customer see the benefit of insurance with ease, without talking to anybody, without going to anybody's office, without doing the number of checkers in the insurance company office or agent's office, with the ease, if they can get the claim, definitely penetration will improve like double-edged speed actually.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the observation. Rashmi, I'll quickly come to you building on that point of customer. I will refer history a little, and I don't see any better person than all of you to comment on this. De-tariffing was an epoch-making incident for the industry. And everybody was curious to know what will happen to the customer. And in a country where we just heard from Sumit, the extent of complexity in motor insurance, where most of the people, would not understand what is or why is engine insurance is required and how is technology supporting that. I wanted to know, with all these changes, do you believe that customers are getting more? Do you believe that industry is sustainable now? And that's a very tricky question. We are getting so much of investment on technology. The margins are going down for everyone. Now, while everybody talks about customers, I actually would encourage all of you to think of the stakeholders, including shareholders and distributors. They need to make money, because if the industry has to thrive, these people are extremely critical for making money. Otherwise, no one will bet on this country. Do you think customer experience, customer richness, or the customer's right purchase has increased with all these changes? Your two words on that.
So Amit, thanks for raising this point. And yes, the de-tarification was brought by the regulator as a sign of the opening of the, and a maturity of the insurance market, with the new wave insurers coming in so that the customers get the right product at the right price. But what did we see on the ground level? We saw complete mayhem, we saw complete immaturity, and we saw the rates sliding down to 1% of what they were earlier. So
Right.
Obviously, it was not sustainable, and it led to insurers bleeding and burning their balance sheets. And it was very skewed, I would say, because even the new products could not be sustained, in such a scenario. So it did not benefit anyone. And we have to now come back to this scenario where the regulator, through their intervention and through the national reinsurer, we are coming to the IIB rates, which is a sort of tariff. So the point I'm trying to make is that if you are given freedom, the freedom has to be with a lot of maturity.
Correct.
Otherwise, that freedom is going to haunt. And if all the stakeholders' interests are not aligned, then the model cannot sustain.
Very
So for
true.
a good sustainable model, we have to ensure, and I'm very proud to say that as brokers, we play a very good balancing role, where we ensure that while we are taking our clients' requirement to the insurer, we are also hearing what the insurer has to say. Because what if my insurer in the bloodbath of price gives me a cheap rate, but is not able to service the claim when it comes? So what
Absolutely.
is that insurance for? And I'm talking of commercial insurances, where for a premium of maybe a couple of lakh of rupees, the sum assured could be multiple 100 crores. You
Correct.
can see the value at risk and the exposure. So we always, as brokers, try to balance that thing and tell the customer that, look, your insurer should be solvent to pay and honor your claim. You don't buy an insurance as a piece of paper.
Right.
And So it has to stand and in front of the litmus test when the time of need comes. And I'm very happy to say that the insurance companies actually pay out thousands of crores of claims, by collecting such minimal premium, and they are doing a very good job of supporting the innovation and the growth of the economy. Can you imagine if there was no insurance? Who would have encouraged the entrepreneurs? Who would have fueled this whole risk taking so that the entrepreneurs can go and do innovation, can go and run their businesses, can run their oil refinery, can fly an aircraft? Who does all that? It is the
Correct.
insurance industry. So we have to ensure that they remain solvent and there is a balance which is there, and look after their interests as well.
I like that. And this is something which keeps bothering me as a professional from the industry, that are we on the right direction? I mean, don't get me wrong, but all these talks about customer experience, very cheap products and variations of product and reaching out to different models, I actually worry about the shareholders.
Yes.
And I actually worry about the distributors. Having worked on distribution for a long time in my career, I am a firm believer of the fact that unless and until these two stakeholders are healthy, are well fed, are nurtured, the long story of insurance cannot be good. And
Yes.
we are a country, and with that question, I want to come to Sumit now. We are a country which is being looked at as the country of future, at least definitely in the next couple of decades. Everybody is bullish about India. Now, the insurance, like Rashmi made a very important point, that for the growth of the country, the insurance sector has to be robust, has to be profitable, and has to be sustainable. Now, in a scenario like that, we also see, Sumit, the stress on the P&L. And I refer to the 100% loss ratios that we see. The solvency is a challenge. And I will not name it, but we all know the biggest of the names are on stress. So what's the story on that? And as a professional, how do you feel about it? Is there a worry for all of us?
Yeah, so basically, post de-tariffing in 2008, as Rashmi said, the prices crashed. And, maybe initially the public sector companies had enough reserves to burn the money. And, they also participated and everybody made merry in, achieving the top line and gaining the customer support. But slowly, I think, everybody lost the plot and they forgot to create the kind of reserves which are required. Now, if you see insurance as a sector, you can only write a risk if you have enough capital. So the risk is actually related to capital. And if you don't have, so you have a limited capital and then you build up through reserves and, you build up those capital. Now, if you don't create that kind of reserves, how can you have an appetite of writing a risk? So if you don't create a reserve, the appetite is not there, then you have to do a reinsurance and the money goes out of the system, out of the country. So you need to build enough reserves as an insurance company to absorb the risk in the country. I think this is very pertinent point which the insurance companies have missed out in this rat race. Secondly, we definitely as brokers represent customer and we need to look at from a customer's perspective in terms of giving him the best price and the best cover. But at the same time, I think it is our responsibility to make sure that we balance it out. We cannot offer, rates of peanuts and insure, as Rashmi said, thousands of crores of risk at a very small lakhs of rupees of premium. And, when it comes to claim, insurance companies should not have that kind of, vision where, they feel that we have charged peanuts. So why do we pay that kind of huge, large risk claims? So I think there needs to be enough premium in the system to service the claim. And I think the customer experience will only improve if insurance company has money, because without money, the experience cannot come in.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Venkat, I would like to come to you with your quick, 30 seconds run on what is the wish list from the regulator? Like you all said that regulator has done a fantastic job. In distribution, do you think the commissions are enough? Do you think the commission should go down, go up? what should happen? So what is the wish list from you, Venkat, as a professional?
Yeah, definitely the commissions has to literally grow up because that the intermediary role is day by day increasing. The cost of intermediary to sustain the intermediary, either is agent or broker, the expenses and that lifestyle and the innovative things in customer service and acquiring the business, the cost is really increasing day by day. Definitely, I say that it need to be increased. And IRD also given some kind of instructions to free up that commissions also at certain level. But some of the insurance companies are implementing, some of the insurance companies are not implementing. Compared to the Western market, suppose it is a predominantly the huge difference. Like in US, that is a life insurance policy, the intermediary will get 100 to 125% commission. Here, we restrict it to 35%. And there is a lot of expenses is there. And if it is decreasing, that definitely that industry won't survive and intermediaries won't survive. And even regulator also knows it, and they are also studying it. In future, that I hope that they will put a right focus and right advisory on that. Then definitely that will fulfill the game of the penetration of insurance industry in India.
Rashmi, I wanted to know your quick bits on so much is hyped around Sandbox, and pardon my saying so, have we seen enough out of that Sandbox experiment? Is it on the right track? Yes, no. If it is not, what is the wish list for Sandbox?
Okay, my quick take on that. Sandbox, to the best of my knowledge and information, hasn't really done something very earth-shaking. And yes, there has been, some minimal, I would say, some perfunctory kind of, applications went up and down. We saw some new products like a drone insurance or some such things come up. But I would say that, brokers should also be allowed to participate in the Sandbox.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the intermediaries represent and know exactly what the customers want. And excluding or not, I mean, it's not that we are excluded, but we are not invited to participate. So I think there is a big gap there. And instead of focusing, what I have seen is in the round of Sandbox, only the fintech companies have currently participated. We are already seeing a plethora of fintech which is already invaded or pervaded into our industry. You see all the payment gateways and all of these things which are happening. But in terms of the product innovation, nothing really has come out of the Sandbox. And I think if brokers are allowed to participate, you will see the real, actually product innovations. These are all what are coming out the process innovations, which will only go about in reducing the infrastructure cost of the insurance company. It's not going to really directly link to the customer or something. And all this talk of customer experience, I just wanted to add my one point here, is that, you have to be very mindful of a couple of things here. Insurance is a very tangible product. It is a serious business. Okay. We cannot afford to have mis-selling happening under the garb of simplicity. And, this bundling in and tagging in and making insurance as, I'm buying online some product and I come stitched in with a health insurance. Now, can you imagine how generic that product would be? So we have to be careful what products we are selling and on through which channels. If I'm going to a supermarket and I'm buying my grocery and somebody is coming and saying, oh, your grocery purchase more than 1,000, I'm giving you an accidental insurance. I find these kind of offerings very gimmicky because neither the customer will remember that when I bought grocery, somebody gave me a PA cover. Okay, it's not going to go into the waste bin. So let's take it a little more seriously and with a little bit more information while transacting. And the second thing is that in this ease of doing business, there is again another hole which is there is on the data security and data privacy. Okay, just to get all of us know that when these telecom companies came in and multiplied and mushroomed, the amount of calls, unsolicited calls, each one of us would get. Yeah, because the same database was moving from one to the other to the third company.
Correct.
So this
Correct.
is again a big exposure which is there, and I think we all need to be mindful, because we receive unsolicited calls where the person knows your name, your age, your sex, where you are working. So much of personal information is there, and randomly to have everyone sell everything online is again a big risk exposure. So we
Thank you
need
so
to
much for
respect
being
that.
so candid. Quickly coming to Sumit, your wish list from the side of the customer, you represent the customer, you also represent the broker's body, right? So what are your wish list, couple of things very quickly, if you can talk about it.
I think the customers, as you know, there is a trust deficit in the system, which everybody knows. And I think
Right.
insurance company and the brokers and everybody involved in the ecosystem need to bridge that gap of trust. So whatever money we are taking from the customer is as the custodian. We need to remember that we need to give them back in terms of need. And I think there is some gap which is there where people don't come forward and buy insurance. So I think
Right.
there needs to be something something needs to be done to fill that trust deficit. And I think that can come with some kind of innovation, like maybe, we generally have an indemnity product, but we need to come with a benefit kind of a product where people buy something on detection of XYZ, you get that money without any hassles, without any lengthy paperwork. If people get the taste of getting back that money, I think that will go a long way in making customer happy and customer being close to the insurance company or to the intermediary.
Great points. Great points. So, ladies and gentlemen, like you saw, I think last about 60 minutes or so, these, terrific points that has been mentioned by these experts. And I know all of them. So I can tell you that we can go on and on and on for another 10 hours and they will be very candid. and they have been so candid. So thank you so much, panelists, for your frank views. It was really engaging. It was really informative. And I must also say that thanks Outlook for organizing such a great discussion on distribution channels and the emerging story around it. So we sign off for today, but with the message that this great country is in for a lot of positive things. All the experts mentioned the great things happening for the industry, the support of the regulator, the way the companies are maturing, the way in spite of pandemic challenges, the claims were honored. So all positive story. There would be challenges like every time we have faced, but I think all said and done, Mera Bharat Mahan. So we'll leave with those promises. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks
Thank you.
for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.